The second thing that I think most people, if not all people, need to have to start content creating today is a mission. Every big business, every company, every creator has a mission to why they're doing everything that they're doing. And you need to figure out what that mission is for yourself. Going into understanding like, hey, I might have a niche, and then you understand your focus with that niche. Like, what do you want to do with this, right? How do you want to educate people? How do you want to add value to those? Then you figure out all the plan. Then you ask yourself, what is the mission? It's very important to figure out what is your mission. It's a mission statement. It drives you. Mission is not just for people. People will ask you what your mission is. Maybe brand deals may ask you what your mission is. It's kind of like a mission statement, something that you can hold on to, that you know that drives purpose and direction into where you're going with it. It's the directional, it's the compass that's going to help you move forward and make sure that you're steady, going straight, and you're going to hit your goal the way that you want to hit your goal. So what is that mission? What's the motive behind the mission? What's the motive, right? What's the motive? But no, realistically, like, why do you do what you do? So yeah, you have a good niche. Yeah, maybe you got to grow here. You got a good plan. Oh, now you got a mission. What's the motive? Like, why? Why go through everything that you're about to go through? Why go down this journey of becoming a content creator if you don't know what your motive is? Like, what's the motive behind that? Well, my mission is the motive. No, you can have a mission. Like, I have a mission to impact people. I have a mission to redefine value, right? Really, that's the mission right now. Statement of the Treasured Podcast is redefining value. It's the redeeming what people would consider garbage or trash. It's the idea. It's that type of idea. You know, my name Cha-Ching. I got it from a lyric that said, they call me dirty, but he calls me treasured. It's the play on words. It's the idea of redeeming something where you may not think it's valuable, but then it actually has more value than you think it had. But what's the motive behind that, you know? I want people to really live to their God-given purpose with this mission. My motive behind that is that for you guys to really experience who you are as people. Redefining value, being able to sit there and redeem what is broken to being good is great. But ultimately, that to be led to for you to understand your God-given purpose and what you really are designed to be here on this earth. And for you to have that full confidence in that. What's your motive? Develop that. Next thing you probably have to have underneath the mission, well, not probably, you have to have it, is who's your audience? Who is your audience? Who are you trying to engage with? Just have a spectrum of people. Most people have the same, like, oh man, we got to make this hard. Maybe it's like, you know, like maybe 21s to 23-year-olds and maybe like 35 to like 45-year-olds is who I'm trying to focus. And maybe that's legit for whatever you're going to go and plan to do. Maybe that's legit, but it's okay if it's broad. Right now, narrowing down my audience, trying to find my audience. A lot of that question too is finding your audience. Who's your audience? It's finding your audience, but it's first, you can't find an audience without having a goal of what your audience is. So, hey, I developed this goal. My audience is probably 18 to 35-year-olds. Awesome, cool. And as your audience starts growing, then you can start narrowing down because you'll know who your audience is at that point. That's why you get that. But first, you got to start somewhere. You got to pick somewhere. You got to pick a lane. Pick a lane, go down that lane. As people start getting attracted to your content, and as you start growing an audience, as you start seeing who's here, who's there, then you start asking yourself, cool, who's really my audience now? Then you can get more hard, definite answers on like, oh, you know, this person is in their mid-30s. Oh, yeah, this person's actually in their mid-20s. I don't really have many people in the 18-year-old range. Oh, my gosh, I have some 50-year-old people in this. Oh, I have a lot of 45-year-olds, just 45, nothing else. Like, then you start realizing, hey, who's your audience? You take that type of information and help really form the content that you're going to form to be able to be applicable to the audience. One thing with your mission and your niche is the other thing, and this is like honorable mention, I guess, is the aspect of creating content for the people, not for yourself. That's something that I subscribe to. Now, there's other people I would say different. 1 second here. We got Nick. What's going on, Nick H? Over on Twitch. You have to ask yourself what's good for others. Sometimes it's a hard pill to swallow. The fruits of the Spirit in you will help guide you in hearing from others and what God's applicable serving. If constructive criticism is important, difficult finding those. Trust on your own, influence others. You need to look into your world from the outside out. And that's literally, that's crazy. Look at you, Nick. That's the real Nick Cage, by the way, guys. So who's over on Twitch right now? It's the real Nick Cage. His name is not Nick Cage, but it really is the real Nick Cage. So don't let him fool you. He will tell you 10,000 times over that he's not, but he really, really, really is. I'm just saying, he really is. It really is. Yeah, I think that's the thing, is that you want to create a content for other people. The idea, that's why you're asking the question, like, who's your audience? Because you ask your audience, you say, who's my audience? And you create content for them. There's a very big content creator. Really, actually, he's a Spotify artist. If you guys don't know who he is, his name is Nick D. Amazing guy. And he made somebody, I forget who interviewed him, but he made a video called "Why Your Music Isn't Gonna Grow in 2024," essentially. And one of the things that he was talking about, and this guy has billions of streams on Spotify. I was telling my wife, I just watched a podcast earlier in like December where they said 1 million streams on Spotify equates to $4,000 monthly income. And I was like, holy crap. And Nick D has 4 million, some close to 1 billion. But literally almost all of his songs that he's released have that many streams. I'm like, bro, what in the world? Who is this guy? And my wife was surprised because she's like, whoa, like, and he has several songs that are billions of streams. And he's like, bro, like, think about that. You got the giants of like Taylor Swift. You got all the hip hop giants, right? A few other musicians that have billions of streams, but they've been doing this for a while. And they're the icons, you know, they're those people that they say, these are the people that created this type of music. One thing Nick D though said why he's been so successful in Spotify is because he's been making music for people. He's not making music for him. He's making music for people. And then after a certain point, you can start introducing people to music that you would make for yourself. So if we translate that and just regular, because this is where I'm saying is that people are like, well, that's music. I'm not gonna do music. I'm doing landscaping. Open your eyes, young Padawan. Take some time, breathe in, breathe out. Nobody's pushing you. Nobody's pressing you. You can just remove music, insert your niche there. Create whatever content you're doing for others. Who's your audience? Create content for your audience. And then at a certain point, you'll be able to really create content for yourself. Now, there's other people that would say create content for yourself. Sorry, I need water. He's a content creator. Started off in COD. Lately, he's been blowing up. Got signed on Kick. His name is Biggie. B-I-G capital E. Biggie. He just posted a video, and I watched it the other day. And I was talking about similar stuff that we're talking about today. And one of the things he was just saying is like that he advocates for a lot is making content for yourself. And I don't necessarily disagree with that aspect either. The idea is that content creation is a little bit unique, where it's 1,000 ways to really peel an orange or peel an apple, but you get to the same point. You can do it with your hands. You can do it with a knife. You can do it with this knife. You can do it with this tool. You can do it with this specialty tool. You can do it with this machine. There's a lot of ways to do it. The idea is finding something that's really gonna be impactful, insightful, and something that you can hop on board with. And why this falls underneath the mission category, I feel, is because really it's what drives mission in content creation. Mission in your content is what drives you to create more content, because you have a mission. There's, hey, this is what needs to hit, and then there's also a filter. If you're creating content, it doesn't fall under that mission, then what's the point? You're wasting your time away on editing, wasting your time away on resources for that content. Well, it might go off, it might do this, and maybe it does, and it's like small little bit reward right here. It's the instant hey, which doesn't happen hardly ever, and you want to make sure you don't fall into that trap. But it's the planting a seed and like Jack and the Beanstalk growing right instantly, and you're like, whoa, this is crazy. Very few does that happen. Most of the time it's planting a ton of seeds, watering those seeds over and over, and seeing them grow, grooming them, right? Harvesting them when the time comes, removing them when they've gone bad, replanting, replanting if it's not working, choosing a different plot to plant in. There's so many other things. The idea is that's the idea behind mission inside of content creation. What the heck are you doing with your mission, right? So what's the mission? What's the motive? Who's your audience? What's your plan for mission and impact? What is your plan? You always want to have a plan. I underrated this so much. I just kind of shot from the hip from a lot of my content career, and it worked. Some of the things work. Some of the things like, bro, I'm a hip fire specialist. Some of those things didn't work. But once you have a mission, once you have the motive behind your mission, once you know who your audience is, draw out a plan. And this plan isn't like, you can draw a like, hey, this is the end all be all plan. Like, this is the goal. This is where we're going to hit with it. This mission is going to get us to this destination. That's cool. I call that a long-term vision planning, or long-term goals, whatever it is, long-term planning. Now you need like a midterm. What is in between? What's the halfway point? What's that in between? Then you need short terms, a lot of short terms. You need more short terms than anything. You probably really only need realistically one long-term plan goal, one long-term plan to really hit that mission. You could involve maybe a couple midpoints if the stretch is really long, right? But you always want to have a ton of short point stuff. 1 second, guys. Nick Cage shooting in. I'm successful today for saying no to my desires and doing what's best for my family, which align better with my talents. Anyways, I didn't see it at the time, and following less of what I thought was cool blessed my family later. And that's something we'll be actually talking about here in a little bit too. On point. Nick Cage, are you reading my notes? I love you, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah, literally, that's the next that's part of the next talking point. So that's good. But again, guys, create a plan. What is your plan? What are your short-term goals? How many short-term goals do you have? What are your midterm goals? You want to make sure that you have a gauge, and this is your best way to have a gauge. If you don't have plans, that's where you don't know how you're doing, and you get stuck in this loop like, what I'm doing is not really working. And I'm sitting here like, bro, you don't have a plan though. Like, if I sat here and said, hey, I'm gonna do something crazy. By the end of this year, I want to have 50,000 followers on every single one of my platforms. Cool. That's a long-term plan. What's my midterm? In 6 months from now, what's the check-in? How do I know? What do I gauge? At 6 months, what do I need to be at? Where do I need to be in certain things? What does my life have to look like? What is my content schedule? What does my time management have to, what does all this stuff have to look like? Then my short terms are like check-in milestones, like, bro, this is the $10,000 10,000 follower mark on this platform. This is that. That's what helps you get out of this crazy mindset. This mindset of just like, hey, I'm not doing stuff. And it's easy to fall into it as a content creator. I fall into it half the time all myself, but some of it is self-inflicted pain because I'm sitting here like, bro, I didn't even create a plan. And once I realized that, I'm like, bro, I didn't even create a plan. And I'm sitting here stressing over something that I caused myself some stress. I could have avoided that stress 100% if I would have just had a plan, and I would have stuck to the plan. I'm not worried about it at that point. I'm not anything. Like, this is the mission. This is a vision. This is where we're going. This is what the road looks like. We're on this road. I'm not off-roading. And some people, without a plan, that's what you do. And you're off-road and you're like, I don't see civilization. I'm going to die. Create a plan. This video was part of the Treasured podcast. Now, if you guys want full access to the whole podcast, consider checking out our Patreon and supporting us there for as low as $5 a month. Other ways to support us as well, head over to chachingapparel.com. Get yourself some really dope merch. On top of that, come hang out with us when we're live. We're live on Twitch, on TikTok, and sometimes we even go live on Kick. And if you were a person that's interested in gaming, we have a gaming channel for you. If you want to go check out at Cha-Ching Games, that's where we're funneling all of our gaming content, and we're keeping Cha-Ching 24K, this channel, for podcasting and IRL stuff. I appreciate everybody, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.